Hey there, makers. So I have a Bambu Labs P1S that I'm going to be setting up. I need to unbox it because I've been running the X1 and it's been getting worked a lot. So I'm going to set this one up. Probably going to be like a PLA only machine. And then I'll pretty much make the X1C the nylon machine. But I figured why not unbox it here, because I know a lot of you guys are curious about what's in it and how it's set up, or how quickly it sets up and stuff like that. So we'll unbox this here and see how easy it is. The X1C was super easy, so see, I got a little bit of motion for you guys. That way you guys have a little bit more entertainment. If you're watching this after the fact, I'll have links to everything in the description, so that way everything is a little bit easier to find. If you're watching it now, I'll try to get to the questions and everything in between going through stuff. Let's see, can I bring them up? Do live chat. All right, there we go. So, those are titties over there. So if you have questions, feel free to pop them up. I'll try to answer them between doing steps on this. And let's just get started. So the lead time on the P1S, for me at least, was like a week and a half. I ordered it, I want to say it was like the 1st or maybe the day before, and arrived on the 10th. So it didn't take too long. Titties, yes. I have a wife who is awesome. Whenever I do shows like without a battery or anything, she always comes up and it's awesome having a great wife. The one downside that I'm a little concerned about is this thing here. As you can see, there's some damage to the box. Hoping that the printer isn't fucked up. I've seen a lot of those, like in the groups, having some issues with broken glass and stuff like that. So let's hope that that's not the case. This is the Spyderco. It's the Chinaman one. I've had this thing for like 8 years. Alright. So we're going to bring this to the ground so that way I can lift things up on the table for you to see it. It's not particularly heavy, but if you are a smaller stature person or spend most of your time indoors, you might need a little help with it. Oh, my zipper's down. Whoops. Alright, I have the moment of truth. I don't see any broken glass, that's great. Alright. So the thing with this is you're supposed to grab the bag, lift the whole thing up, and set it down. It's smart, but it's a little weird to think of. Here we go. There we go. Alright, so let's get to the printer in just a minute. Everything in here looks okay. I do see there's a tear here on it, so I'm hoping that everything else is fine. The glass on mine, the front of it looks good. Top of it looks good. Alright, so I have the AMS combo, so I can run PLA Plus for the pews and then PETG. I'll set it as the support material for PLA, but that seems to work really, really good. So I wanted the AMS so I could do a support interface. I almost got a minor in packaging sciences. There is some science that goes into packing things nicely. Just from doing like the kits and stuff on my website, learning how to fold them up and stuff like that into the bubble wrap and set it in there so it fits nicely and doesn't move around. I've evolved, from just putting it in there with some bubble wrap and sometimes shit gets loose. It's funny when you start doing it and you start learning it, and you're like, wow, there's actual people dedicated to figuring out how to pack a box. Who has that job? So in the box, what is this? There's no label. Oh, PLA basic. So I got some garbage. I'll probably make keychains with it or something. Here we go. Support for PLA. So this is the stuff that I really like, but I'm not going to pay for. You can get PETG for cheaper than you can get this. It does just as good of a job. And then the last one, let's see, another one of PLA basic, but it's orange. You know I like orange, so that works for me. Is that it? That is it. Now, the one thing you need to know if you do end up buying a Bambu is you need to keep the box. If you don't keep the box and you end up tossing this and you have a warranty issue, they're either not going to honor the warranty or you have to pay for shipping again. I don't know all the details because I've not had to do it myself, but I know I've seen tons of people saying that if you lose the box, Bambu is going to fuck you on the warranty. So put this in the closet, put it in the cupboard, put it in the garage, do something. Just don't toss it out. I'm putting all the shit that we got back in there. Over here. Alright. So we'll set these on the artillery while we open this thing up. If you're so inclined, Bad Attitude Department makes all of the shirts and hoodies and stuff like that for me and PSR and some other companies. So if you want some cool merch and you want to support me or support PSR, check out Bad Attitude Department. Bad Attitude Department is also really cool because they like kitties. I'm a huge cat fan, so. Alright. Speaking of cats, was that how they know? Come here. This is Lady. She is a fucker, but I love her. Say we rescued you, huh? You were just a nobody. Alright, I love you. Have fun. So even that bag, all of it, toss it into the original box. Keep it there, and in case you have some sort of warranty issue. I'm hoping when we get to all this, nothing's dented or damaged or broken because of that thing on the box. Hopefully I don't have to deal with that, but keep that stuff. Alright. So, right up on top right here is the quick start guide. I'm trying to take this top off so I can show you a little bit better. Who doesn't like it when the top comes off, right? Alright. So, quick start guide right up on top. You can't miss it. Let's see. Don't use TPU or PVA or cardboard spools. I'll tell you, unless you're using those really, really cheap ones, like the absolute garbage cardboard ones that are like literally cardboard, like the box that it came in, Duramic, Polymaker, those ones, they're totally fine. If you use the really, really cheap shit, you're gonna have issues. I've never tried TPU, so I don't know how that runs in there. I wouldn't imagine too well unless it's the really, really stiff kind. Make sure that nothing in here is different. Looks pretty much the same as the X1C. Following the instructions is pretty simple in this. They have a lot of pictures. Everything is picture book, so even if you are an average Walmart shopper, but you have a little bit of money, you will be able to follow the images on here. Alright, set this to the side. Let's get the door open. Actually, no, I'll get the stuff up here first. So, EMS. Alright, So we got our first box. Alright. So the P1S doesn't come with a big screen like the X1C. P1S has a little tiny screen with analog buttons. It's kind of a downer, to be honest, but that's where some of the cost savings came in from the X1C. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but there is a mod that someone else did. I don't know the details on it because I just barely getting into this P1S, but there's a P1 Touch mod, open source, everything like usual. So you can add on or replace this with the P1 Touch. I think it's, I mean, it looked like it was like the X1C one, but a little bit jankier. So I think they did a really good job of getting the interface to look close enough. Maybe if it is open source, touch up the colors and stuff to match it a little bit better. Let's just start putting all the materials over here. We have the cables for the AMS. The glue. So everyone's using like hairspray and all that kind of stuff. Glue stick for both PLA and nylon is where it's at. Especially nylon, if you're having issues with warping. Purple glue stick is what you should be using. This stuff is basically their own formulation, but it's just like the school glue. That's all it is. It works really, really good. To the point, actually, here's the... So I just pulled the print off of this one, so it looks like shit, but you can tell how used this area is and how I have to still clean this area up from this print, but that's all glue. But it works really, really well. I never have issues with warping or pulling up, and even on your open bed printers like the Enders and stuff like that, glue stick is always a little bit better than hairspray, and especially if you use a brim, it'll keep it on there a little bit better. It's supposed to be for a release agent, but it helps not release as well. So like when it's hot, it sticks. When it's cold, it pulls off. Plus one for school glue sticks. Fuck yeah, dude. Actually, you know what? I have one sitting on top of the X1C right here. So this is the stuff that I use, and I will say Kron is the one who suggested it to me. It's his little secret, and now I'm definitely putting that on blast because it's fantastic. Alright, left in here we have the spool holder that goes in the back if you don't have the AMS. Power cord for the machine. Disclaimer and safety guidelines. Let's just skip that. Here's all the goodies. Alright, so I lost the first one, but if you ever want to take apart the AMS or anything else, this is super handy. You also need it for some of the stuff in there. I'll see if when we get closer I can move the camera in and move the light in as well, so you can see getting all the stuff out and getting the bed set up. It was a pretty unique situation, especially if you're used to like upright machines like the Ender or the Anycubics, or in this case artillery. Setting up or undoing the bed and stuff like that's a little peculiar. So we're gonna keep all the parts and stuff in here. This baggie has extra screws, nozzles, the nozzle wipes. Actually, so these are the nozzle wipes. It'll basically run the nozzle over that a couple times to clean it off. What's in this? Oh, thermal paste. Cool. So they actually have, oh no, that's lubricant. They didn't include that when I had that, or when I bought my X1C. I had to, here's my ghetto secret, is I don't use proper lubricant if I don't have any. If I run out, or like the supplied ones run out, I just use Slip 2000 on everything. It works really, really good on the lead screws, on the carbon fiber rods, everything. Alright. See if I can get this guy out. You know, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to pop the door open to get this one out. Yeah, we got some long screws in there. So everything during shipping is screwed down nice and tight. Nothing is just like placed in there. Like when I got this artillery, when I got my Anycubic, when any of the printers that I have, anytime that I got any of those, everything was just kind of set in there. You had parts that were assembled already, but they were just set in. And this is set in here, but you can see these red screws. These are where to unscrew from a base that has like a molded part. It's like very well thought out. Which, for the price of these printers, fucking shit. Alright, take them out. I'm gonna be the guy that has fucking plastic in my hinge because I can't get it out. There we go. Oh man, let's see. Too floral for me. Use AIM CNC dry lube. I've never heard of that. Makes my hands all sticky whenever you're doing it. There's two on the inside as well, so after I do these two, I'm gonna take the two in the back. Oh man. Dust in there. Fuck, and see I got these big ass arms. Hands. Now I'm going to stick my hand in a small little slot. I appreciate that they gave us an extended Allen. But I'm feeling like I'm fishing around in a hole. And I know what I want is on the outside of the hole, right? Fuck. Pull it out yet? Oh shit, it is. Okay, cool. Maybe it's just the two holding the AMS in. Alright, here we go. Noise. Alright, so if you don't know, somehow, the AMS is the multi-filament hub. You can hold 4 in there. You can see it all routes to this one central Bowden tube in the back. 4 different feeders. You're not supposed to use TPU, you're not supposed to use carbon fiber nylon and stuff like that, but I've been using carbon fiber nylon and carbon fiber PLA in one of the slots on mine, and I just cleaned it yesterday and there's no issues. There's no degradation or anything yet, so. Alright. Alright, let's see if we can get you a little bit closer now. Let's see if that keeps up. Let's see. Alright, so you can see there's all these little arrows. Every one of these little arrows is pointing to a screw that needs to be removed. And then after we calibrate, we can finally get these ones. You actually have to calibrate the machine with those in there for the first time, which is a little scary. So one in the back is done. One on the side, I think, is done. No, I'm gonna have to re-angle it so you guys can actually see. Alright, so we want you to go from here as your A points to here as your B points. There we go. Hopefully putting you guys on a slider is a little bit more entertaining for something like this. Now, I have a friend who's in North Carolina, and I keep telling him that he should just move up here and stop being a loser who lives in North Carolina, and he could be a loser who lives here with me in Wisconsin. He could be the camera guy for this, so you guys can just blame him for not having an actual camera. Oh, yeah. So it shows an arrow to one over here, but I can't see it. That's because it is hidden. There we go. Alright, back you up a little bit. Alright, so this foam, that foam, and that foam all have to stay in here until after calibration. Now that we remove that bracket, there's more screws to be removed. So let me stay in frame. Alright, looks like we will. Alright, there's one. Oh, there's another one. So I've been actually really curious about these textured PEI sheets. I don't know if the X1C comes with them now, but when I got the X1C, it came with the stickers for the cool plate and the engineering plate. I'm very curious about these, but I didn't want to have to buy one from them and pay for shipping and all that just to find out if I like it. So this will be a good way to figure that out. Let's see. Bambus? Yes, bambus. One artillery, which I listed for sale actually. I was gonna do a video on it, and I recorded even some of the video. It's like every other printer out there that looks like it, so it's just not worth it. If you guys have any questions about the Bambu or anything else Middleton made while I'm doing this, feel free to shut them out. I know there's not a lot of you watching, so don't feel too pressured. But this would be a good time if you do have questions and you want a more one-on-one. You'll probably get your question answered. And this back one's kind of bitch. Come on. There we go. Get that one out, yeah, sure can. Cardboard that's on the gantry. Go. I don't see any more tape or foam other than the ones that are in there. Double check what's around the back side of this. Looks good. So this is the hub adapter motor, I guess, for the AMS. That's what actually runs it in here. That looks different than on mine. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll get the AMS set up after we get the Bambu calibrated. Let's get this screen on here. So it looks like the screen is just going to click into that spot and then have to plug in the wire. Let's see, we got some questions. Camera slowly turning away from the shot. All right, I will fix the shot real quick. There's B. There's A. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you. Thanks for pointing that out. A really hot lady asked, I've been afraid to ask, but does your butt always look this good? No, only in pants or when the pants are removed. Shorts, not so great. Is it worth getting the extra than just the basic machine in the P1S? Yes, the AMS is 100% worth it because support material, even if you dial in your settings really, really, really well, looks good. But it might even be easy enough to remove, but it's never going to look as good as when you can use a support interface. And by that I mean the PETG or the support material that they include or sell as well. The support interface, like PETG and PLA, just they don't mix. They don't like each other. So when you get PETG on there, you can just pull it off. Actually, you know what? So here's a piece of CF PLA with PETG interface. We'll see if I can do it by hand. This one was a little tight, so it might be a little snug, but without the interface, it would have been a fucking nightmare. Where are my snips? Here it is. So you can see how there's black around the edge. That's the interface. So now that those bottom parts are off. Ah, oh, fuck, I missed. I was off camera. Well, it was on like this. Now that I pulled these parts off and I wasn't providing friction there, I was able to just push it off. The support interface is awesome because now, maybe the camera will show it, hopefully. This is super, super smooth and super, super clean. It looks like there's no support material there at all. Like no artifacting, no little bit lighter of material. It's just clean. And like to show you, see, will the light bounce on it right? No, it won't. It's a little dark in here, so the light's not going to cooperate with black support interface, but sorry about that. All right. one of the things I'm constantly reminded of, especially with even builds like this, is no one accounts for dudes with big ass hands or arms. There we go. All right. Top glass, and I think we're ready to get the power cord in there. Glued. There. All right. They did glue it. God damn it. Other than the fingerprints I'm just putting on it. Looks really nice. Alright. Interesting. So, I'm wondering if this is an actual SD card. Didn't say anything about a capacity on it. Oh no, it does. 32 gig. Well, the X1C didn't come with an SD card, but it seems like this one did. Let's see, 3D printing is new for me. I did a small CNC from D&D and moving over these machines. Just ordered a P1P last week. I actually have a ghost gunner over there that I'm going to be setting up and probably doing a live stream like this during the day when I have a little bit more time. It's going to take a lot more time to figure that out because I've never done a ghost gunner and I don't know shit about it. So I'm a level zero for a machinist. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on it, so maybe I know more than the average person, but I have zero experience, which makes me new. All right, knife away. Let's get the power cord. Set that there. Oh yeah. Oh Lord. Whew. Okay, that's nice. So before in the X1C, they did not include all of these extras. You got one extra, and that's it. I'll have to use one of these, I think, to... No, they already ran it. They got a way better setup now, giving you the stuff that you actually need. That's great. Alright, so one of the cool things about the AMS is on the inside you have these little spots here for the Decussin, or whatever they're called, bags. So it comes with each one of your rolls of filament, or once you get these you can slip these open. But as they get worn out, you can try to keep the humidity down inside of this, because this has a gasket and is a sealed unit. So when you print nylon or anything else that absorbs water, as long as it's dry in here, it should be good. Alright, so we need the power cable for it, which is here. Now, I don't know if you saw earlier on the stream when I was showing the X1C, but I actually usually turn the AMS so there's less of a sharp angle going into the printer. It's a lot easier for it to just do a simple turn when it's facing backwards, you can imagine if this had to go in this way, why running it like this might be a little bit of an issue because then you're going to have to twist it. Grab the dick and twist it. No, doesn't work with Bowden tubes. You want to just have it facing this way in the first place, so it just runs straight in. Less friction, works way better. All right. So we have the long one, which will connect the AMS to the machine, and then you have the machine to the motor that's on the back. So we're just turn the whole thing around real quick. So what I was talking about is having your AMS sideways, because it just runs in like this. It's a really simple turn versus having it like this. You can see how that's kind of that's like what would be fun on a roller coaster, not for your filming. Alright, so we're going to take this guy. Oh man, let's see if I can remember where it goes. If I can't remember where it goes, I'm going to have to look it up in the manual. No. I thought I remember there being ones right on here. I'm gonna have to look it up because it's not the same on the X1C. Interesting. Watch there be one of those on the printer, and just because I haven't looked at that side, we missed it. Nope. Oh, there's one on the bottom. Dash fan. Alright, yeah, let me look at the manual real quick. Oh boy. There we go. There it is. He's hidden. Got all this, got all this. Doesn't say which way the 90 is supposed to go, so I'm going to just take the liberty and plug it in this way. Alright. We are in. How's the temperature in the case? You think it needs extra padding? I've not really had that many issues. I think inside of the enclosure, if that's what you meant, or inside of the AMS. The AMS doesn't really get too hot. In fact, with the AMS on top of it, when you're printing materials, it actually heats it up, which should, if you have the little bags in there, help draw some of that oxygen and air and keep it dry. So maybe a little bit of heat from this is actually beneficial to that. For a while I ran it on the side and didn't have it on top of it at all. That is an option too. Probably a good option if you have multiple AMSs. Like let's say I wanted to run both, or I wanted to run two AMS off of just this one printer. Um, you'd have them both stacked to the side. You wouldn't have them on the printer at all. So. Alright. Let's turn it on. Before use, please make sure you have read the user manual carefully. Sure. Please make sure that you have removed the screw fixed to the hotbed. I did screws, and 3 of them. Chose my region. Scan the QR code. You know what? I will. Actually, I won't because you're on my phone. We'll set that up later. Terms of service. You request your help to improve. No, you don't get my data, please. Self-test. I'll open this up to see if I can't get more light in there for you. Whoop. There we go. Finally, let the machine run a self-test. Check the status of your printer. So, one of the interesting things about the Bambu, here we go, grab the, there we go. One of the interesting things is the calibrations that you can do with this. So, the fact that it can do almost all of the calibrating on its own is kick-ass. In the last version of Bambu Studio, they actually made it so the slicer will aid you in calibrating your machine. It basically has built-in calibration cubes. Or cube, I should say, and then a couple other files. So you can test your flow and everything else and create a custom profile straight from there. Super, super helpful. Especially when you get to materials like nylon that are a little bit harder to dial in than PLA. PLA just prints most of the time. Doesn't matter if you're too hot, too cold. It'll probably print. But nylon, that's hard. In comparison, at least. You can see it's doing its little dance. Let's see, is there anything else? So as it's doing its calibration, I'm already noticing there's already some grease and everything on the linear rails. They're on mostly the bottoms is what I'm seeing. So when this is done, I'll probably just wipe that and put it on the rails. Actually, once it's done calibrating. You know, I never noticed before, there are ways to manually adjust. Maybe it's just to loosen this calibration. So one of the things that this does is it knows it's like resonance frequencies and stuff like that apparently. I'm not that much of a nerd to know how that all works, but because it's in a Core XY and it can go really, really, really fast, knowing its own vibrations and all that kind of stuff, apparently is one of the reasons that it makes these so nice, along with like input shaping, which is basically it knows how it would normally move in a certain direction so it can accommodate for the slippage or basically the artifacts that would normally happen and self-correct. The people who come up with all this code in order to do that is, they're pretty wild. That's really smart shit. I'm actually wondering, why the light doesn't turn on there yet. Get a little bit more visibility. I wonder, do I have another light over here? Oh, portable one. Thought I did. Well, while we wait for that to calibrate, I'll also show you. So this is one of the projects that I'm working on, another thing with another project with another company. So this is a PVS 5 Gen 2 tube. The Gen 2 tubes are obviously not Gen 3. Gen 3 is better than Gen 2. Gen 2 is better than Gen 1. You can't like just look up at the stars and see a beautiful starry night here in the city. I don't live in like a metropolitan area, but even here, it's hard to see. Now places like New Hampshire or Arizona where there's not very much light pollution at all, then you can probably see the stars or the Milky Way even with this. What's really cool is right now this is printed in the Bambu PLA CF just because the CF hides all the layer lines and makes it look really good. Plus, since it's a Bambu product, they already have it dialed. This is just the prototype. We're actually going to get it MJF printed. As you guys know, I talk very high marks for MK machining. They do machining, but they also do MJF. I believe he said he's the #1 printer of PA11 MJF in the world. Don't quote me on that. You'll have to go check out the Auto Battery interview we did with him. But that's what I'm pretty sure he said. We're going to get it done in PA12 just because it's a little bit more affordable and it has some of the properties that are going to be fine for this housing, but it'll attach to the helmet and it works. One AA battery fits in there. Press the button, turns on. Press the button, turns off. Right now, this is just a mock-up. I actually need to send it off to the guys who have all the tubes. I don't have any of the tubes right now. I have my dummy tube here, which it's not a dummy, it's the undervolted one that I already did the PVS 5 video on. If you want to check that one out, you can see the first version of this. Extremely jank, just because I wanted to see if I could get it to work. It's basically a fucking box on top of this. It's so jank, but I got it to work. This will come to market either just as the kit, so if you already have a PVS 5 but you want to put it inside of one of these to get a more modern housing, you get just the kit, or the tube in the kit. I don't know what that's going to cost. I don't know what any of these is going to cost just yet, but I don't know what they're going to cost, but it will be cheaper. Oh, excuse me. It will be cheaper than a PVS 14 of the same kind of setup. So it'll be a lot more affordable for poor boys like myself and like airsofters and stuff like that. There's also a cover that goes over it. I'll show that to you real quick before we move on. So after all said and done, imagine it black versus red. Red's just so it will show easy and because it prints nicely, but cool shit. All right, testing is done. Hit finish. So that's ready to print. So let's throw in orange. It's nice and easy to see. This isn't a resealable, so we'll just pop it. This is the orange PLA Basic. One of the other things to note about Bambu spools is there's an RFID tag. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but in here there's an RFID tag. So the AMS will know how much is left and what it is. Snips, where are you? Here you are. Cutting it straight. Open up AMS. So for some reason, I always put PLA third slot. I'll put nylon in the fourth one. Man, if this is gonna be a PLA machine, I guess they'll both all be PLA except for support material, which would be number 1, I guess. Alright, still getting 4, whatever. Oh, fuck, I'm gonna have to put in 1 if I'm gonna use the built-in files. Alright, fuck it. I'll do 1 for now. So when you insert the filament into the AMS, it just sucks it down and runs it into the machine automatically. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna hit, and alright, files, we got the 3D Benchy. Let's do that. This one says it's gonna take 8 minutes. So we'll probably end the stream after the 8-minute Benchy, but I'll pop it open too. I'll get you a little bit closer. Set it up so the camera can see it well. Here's our A stop and our B stop. Confirm. And will you go, please? There we go. Get the light a little closer. Alright. Let's see. It's louder than I thought when I did that calibration. Yeah, the first time I did it, well, just like right now, some of the family was sleeping and I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Like, luckily it's not too loud in other rooms in my house because our home is decently insulated, but yeah, the first time you do it, especially that vibration, you're just like, holy fuck. Alright, so it's at 220 Celsius and the bed is heating up to 55. We're at 45 right now. Hopefully all that vibrating isn't annoying you guys. That's how my phone goes off every day. It's just... So if it takes a little bit for me to get back to you, you know why. And if I get back to you really quickly, feel special because there's a lot of messages that come through. Alright, here we go. So, an 8-minute Benchy, and I'm guessing it's going to look pretty good. This is the one that's already tuned and set up by them. So it's going to look a hell of a lot better than a lot of the prints that you or I are going to do. It's kind of a misnomer when you print the Benchy on here. It just looks way better because it's already set up. It's already looking good from them, and they've probably ran hundreds of them to get it to look A-okay. So out of the 8 minutes, that includes setup time, we're already almost a quarter of the way through that time. It's actually saying 21 minutes now. So I don't know what the 8 minutes was in the preview screen, but 21 minutes. So we're probably not going to stay here for 21 minutes talking about benches, but at least at this point you'll have seen the setup and unboxing of it. And I'll take a picture of the Benchy once it's done. I'll put it on the Instagram so you guys can see it. And then once I get more time into this, we'll do a full review and a comparison to the X1C and actually see for our use, because you know what we're using it for, how well this works versus the X1C. My assumption and my guess is that it's going to be just fine. It's going to be pretty much exactly the same, especially with the AMS on there. Now, I didn't put any glue down, so if this doesn't stick, it's kind of likely. What it's going to do here the first time is it's going to go through, it's going to vibrate, it's going to do all its calibrations and stuff. It's going to put a couple lines down to, actually, you know what, it might not do that because the X1C has the LiDAR. This one doesn't have it. Maybe this one won't do calibration, a flow calibration. Fuck, maybe I have to figure that out. The bed leveling's fun though because it'll go through and just dot itself along the bed in multiple different spots. A little grid to figure out if there's any sort of things that need to be adjusted, and then it'll vibrate to fix it. Alright, Toming, so what you doing? Alright, it's doing its calibration right now. we go. We're starting to home the bed. And we should go to the corner here to level. So now that we're homed, now it's going to level. And then I'll keep it going here for a couple minutes. So thanks for sticking with me if you're still here. Just that way you can see how fast this gantry is going to be moving. Because when it starts sprinting this benchy, this one's a really, really fast one. It's fucking wild. What I've wanted to do is come up with a benchy that's more applicable to our industry and see if there's anything that we could print that tests all the different things that we need to know. The keychain was supposed to be that, the Picatinny keychain, and it does test everything pretty well. The overhangs on there, you have slight 90s and then 45s. So it's not as much as a benchy where you have something that's like completely around surface or around geometry, but it has something. I think we need to have something that's a little bit better. I'd like to come up with something, so if you have ideas of what that could be, something that's useful or fun, but someone could print in 30 minutes and not use a ton of filament, but check to see if their settings are dialed. Leave the comments on here, and if it's done within the next week or two, I'll probably whip it up and we'll figure out if it's a good metric of calibration or not. Alright, finally, so it's just heating up the nozzle again, back up to 220. Heats up damn quick. It was at 170, and now we're up to 220 already. Alright, here we go. See if I can't take you off this to show you. So first layer's already done. Tell me this was not the wildest moment. Alright, so if you have been here, thanks. I really appreciate you guys coming to the channel and checking it out. The U-bar buffer end test or Hoffman buffer end. You know, so I can't touch it because we're on a live stream, but the back end of the apple pie, grandma's apple pie I should say, while it's not going to be advised to use the printed version, it's going to be advised to use the metal version that I'll sell. That might be a good alternative. I'll have to look into that. If you do have suggestions, like I said, leave them in the comments. I'll check back on this at the end of this week and then the next week. If there's any good comments or any good suggestions, I'll whip them up. If there's more than one, maybe I'll whip up a handful of them, and we'll have them all. That way you guys can decide if it's good or not. In the meantime, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate all of your guys' support, and can't stop the signal. We'll see you guys next time.